All right, y'all should be seeing my screen now. So this is number 16. They want us to graph. So I'm going to write this down so I can graph it on that calculator for you. So we got negative x times x plus 1 squared times x minus 4 squared. Now notice on these graphs, if you want to get the exact picture on this one, notice how the x values start at -6 on the left and go to 6 on the right. And then the y values go from -240 on the bottom to positive 240. So I'm going to show you how to set your window on the calculator to get the exact picture. So let me share that calculator. All right, also I'm going to go to y equals. I had negative x. And in parentheses, I had x plus 1 squared. And then I had parentheses x minus 4 squared. Now, before I graph it, I'm going to set the window. You'll notice up here on the top row by the y equals, you got a window button. So click that window button. So it looks like my x's are already set what I needed. But what you would do is you would put a -6 in for the small x minimum, enter, +6 for the x max, enter, and then enter down until you get to the y minimum. My y minimum was a -240. And then enter, my y maximum was a 240. So once you change that window, our graph will look exactly like one of the 4 graphs they got. So y'all, I'm going to hit graph now. So notice my graph sort of comes down from the left and goes up just slightly. And then it's touching the +4 on the right side and going down. So it's downhill left to right. So we'll just match that with one of them 4 graphs. So let's say I'm going to zoom them up for just a little bit, each of them. So if you remember, mine was going downhill. The only 2 that go downhill are A and D. And mine, remember, came up and touched at the 4 on the X and went down. So I would actually choose A on that one. And then move to number 17. All right, so let me write this down. F of x equals x squared plus 4x minus 12 all over x squared minus 5x minus 14. All righty, so I'm going to go to the paper and work this and see what we get. All right, so vertical asymptotes occur where the denominator is undefined. So all I got to do on this problem is set that bottom x squared minus 5x minus 14 equal to 0 and solve that. Now you could use quad formula for this. A would be 1, B would be -5, C would be -14. And put that in the formula to get your 2 answers. But y'all, your number 17 is going to factor. So the x squared will be an x and an x. The last sign on the 14 is negative. So when the last sign is negative, you got unlike signs for your factors. Now you want to find factors of 14 that'll subtract and give me a 5. So 14 is
2
either
and 7.
So there you go. So the only 2, and remember the 7 is bigger, so it's negative like the middle, and the 2 is positive. So good job. Now just set both of these equal to 0 and get our final answers. Now remember, vertical asymptotes will be x equals a number and then x equals a number. So since I got 2 x's, I'll have 2 small equations. But really, x equals -2 is the first answer. Come in and add 7 on the second one and get a +7. So y'all, we got -2 and 7 for our answers. Let's go look at the math lab. So -2 and 7 would be A. B, they got the signs backwards. And y'all be careful, C, they got Y values. So remember, vertical asymptotes are the X's. Horizontal asymptotes would be the Y values, okay? So pick your A, and then let's move to our next one. So 18, find the requested function value. So f of x is going to be 8x plus 8. G of x will equal 6x squared plus 5x plus 5. They want us to find G compose f of -3. All right, so I'm going to work that on paper, and then we'll hopefully come back and get one of them 4 answers. All right, so remember, this is like finding G of f of a -3. We're going to take that -3 and put it into the f equation. Once we get that answer, we'll put it into the G equation. So these sort of work right to left. So the first thing we got to find is our f of -3. So we'll put a -3 in for that x. So that'll be, that'll be 8 times -3 plus 8. All right, y'all, multiplying first, you get -24 plus 8. Adding them together, -24 and 8, give me a -16. So now that I know that f of -3 is -16, I put that into the G, and we're finding G of a -16. So that'll give us 6 times -16 squared plus 5 times -16 plus 5. All right, y'all, let me let one in real quick. All right, so by hand, order of operations, we got to do the exponent first. So I'm going to bring that 6 down. Let's see, 16 times 16. Let's see, let me hit my calculator up. I think that's 190, 256, but I'm not sure. So 16 times 16. All right, so that is 256. And then I'm just bringing everything else down. All right, y'all, so let's see. 6 times 256. Let me figure that out.
-1,536.
Oh, let me see. Make that positive, because remember, my negative, when I squared it, become a positive.
1,536.
1536. Now this will be negative. So negative 16 times 5 would make that a -80 plus my 5. All right, so add them up for me and see what we get. We got 1,536 minus 80 plus 5.
1,461.
61.
Yes.
Okay, so 1,461. So hopefully we're going to go back on that paper and see that in our math lab. And y'all look at that, number D, 1,461. Now remember, another way you could have done that and just throwed it in that calculator. I'm just going to work most of mine by hand when I can. All right, y'all, let's see. What's this number? 19. So this is similar to the one I just did, except they're not giving me a number to put in for the X. So all we can do on this one is simplify it. So let's see. F of x is 4x squared plus 5x plus 3. G of x is 5x minus 6. they want me to find G compose F of X. All right, so remember, all we can do is simplify this one. We cannot get a number out of it because they didn't give us numbers for the X. So this, just like the last one, will be like doing G of F of X. So we start with our F of X, but since they didn't give us any numbers, this whole F of X function goes into the G. So that means this whole function goes into the G equation for that 1x. So y'all, let's write that down. G compose F of X is going to be my G equation, 5 times X, which will be the whole function, 4x squared plus 5x plus 3. And then at the end is a minus 6. So when you put the F in a G, it looks like the G equation with a bigger X. And y'all, all we got to do now is what? Distribute to get rid of the parentheses. So 5 times 4 gives you 20x squared. 5 times 5 gives you 25x. 5 times 3 gives me 15. And then I got my minus 6 at the end. So would y'all go further on that?
15 minus 6.
Yeah, because the 15 minus 6 is my like terms. So we bring everything else down, and then that's going to be what? Positive 9.
9.
All right, y'all, so let's go see. 20x squared, 25x plus 9. All right, so what I say, 20x squared, 25x plus 9. Oh, that looks like B. And y'all, we're really happy when we come on here and we find our answers on here, okay? All right, 20. So listen here on 20. Determine whether the function is 1-to-1. Do not put C ever. Well, whatever answer they put not 1-to-1, do not mark this. Your problem, all of them are 1-to-1. So that means we will have to find the inverse on this. So 5x plus 8 is my function. So let's go work that one and get one of them other 3 answers. But y'all, not 1-to-1 is not an answer that you're going to put on this one, okay? All right, so you're going to replace the f of x with a y. Remember, y and f of x are the same thing, but we put it as a y so we can solve our formulas. Now, at this point, since it's the inverse, I switch the x and the y around. X equals 5y plus 8. And at this point, we solve for y. So to get the y by itself, let me let one in real quick. So to get y by itself, I'm going to subtract 8. So you get x minus 8 equals 5y, because that cancels. Now divide both sides by the 5. So those cancel. Y'all, we can't do nothing to that, so that's going to stay at x minus 8 over 5 equals my y. But remember, since it's the inverse, I can now replace the y with the f -1 of x. So my function was 5x minus 8. My inverse function is x minus 8 over 5. If you notice, the inverses, if they're adding, will be subtraction. If they're multiplying by the 5, then you'll be dividing by the 5. All right, so let's go. We want x minus 8 divided by 5. And y'all, that's the A for that one. Now we'll say D is close, but remember, when you have that x minus 8 on that left side, when you divide by the 5, everything over there is divided by the 5, not just the x. So you want to be A on that one, and then we'll go to 21. All right, so this is another graph I'm probably going to do on the calculator. F of x equals 3 to the x minus 3. Now, I'm going to show y'all something on this, and before I graph it on the calculator, I want to show you something on the paper. If you got the older calculator, when you go to y1, you're going to put in 3. When you do the little upside down v for the exponent, it's going to give you parentheses. In those parentheses, you would put your x minus 3 and then close the parentheses. So this is letting you know that you got an exponent and the whole exponent is the x minus 3. Y'all on the newer calculators, when you hit the little caret on the new ones, when you put in your 3 and you hit that little caret sign under the clear button, it puts the cursor up here. So all you do in the cursor up here is put the x minus 3 and you're done. Okay, so I just wanted to remind the people on the older calculators that they gotta put in the x minus 3 and then close those parentheses, okay? All right, so the one I'm going to use now is the newer calculator. So let me clear everything over here. And then when I go to y equals, I'm going to clear that out. Now, on this one, let me go back and show you. On this one, if you notice, all these x values go from -6 to 6. The y values go from -6 to 6. So I'm going to fix that window when I graph this. So let me put in my 3. I'm going to hit the caret over here under the clear. See how it keeps my exponent up there, x minus 3. The older ones don't cursor it up, so that's why y'all got to do the parentheses. All right, so the window is already set on -6 for the x's, so I'm just going to arrow down until I get to the y minimum. Y minimum was a -6, enter. Y maximum was a +6, enter. So y'all, when we graph it now, it's going to look like one of the 4 pictures. So I'm going to hit graph. And notice it sort of comes across right on the x-axis, and then it starts curving up. So let's go see if we want A, B, C, or D. Y'all, looks like I'll make all these larger. But definitely looks like A to me. So I'm going to click A. And then I'm able to move to my next one. All right, 22, convert to log. So convert it to a log equation. I got 2 to the 3rd equals 8. So let me play with y'all on this one a little bit. So let me go to the pad. So to convert it to a log, we write log. So I need to know the base of my log. Well, the base of the log is the same as the base of the exponential, which will be the 2. So you're going to have a subscript 2. The result is the 8. And the exponent that I would raise 2 to turn it into an 8 would be that exponent of a 3. Now, I did notice that MATLAB put the number first. So they put 3 equals log 2 of 8. Either way is right, but I just noticed, I think that MATLAB started with the 3. So let me go see. Yeah, so they're starting with the numbers. So it's going to be B or C. So let's see, B has log 16 of 2, which is wrong. We need log base 2 of 8, which is right. So y'all, we go C and go next. All right, let me write this down. So they want me to write in terms of sums and differences. I got a log base b of m to the fourth, p to the seventh over n to the fifth, b to the second. All right, so let me go switch that up so we can write that one out. All right, so remember, if they're on top, they're rewritten as positive or addition. If they're on the bottom, they're written as negative or subtraction. So distribute the log b to all four terms. So you get a log b of m to the fourth plus a log b of p to the seventh. So those two are positive because they was on top. Now the rest of them were subtracted because they're on the bottom. So I got a log b of n to the fifth minus my log b of b squared. All right, y'all, at that point, we just bring these exponents down on the first three. Now, I'm not bringing this exponent down because let's see if y'all remember. That log base b of b to the second, what will that one equal?
2.
That's going to be a 2. Good job. So y'all, let's just do that. Bring down the 4 log b of m plus the 7 log b of p minus the 5 log b of n minus the 2. Good job. And y'all, if you've done this problem a lot of times now, and it's always the first three bring the exponents down, and that last one always equals whatever that exponent was, okay? Now, be careful on MathLab because look what they're doing to us on this one. A looks right. They got the 4 log b of m, but look, they put multiplication instead of addition right there. And then if you go to the end, they put division in front of the 5 instead of subtraction. So they had everything right on that, and they just had the wrong operators. Look at B, they got 4 log b m plus 7 log b of p minus 5 log b of n minus the 2. So B was what we needed. C, they didn't do nothing to that. And then D, what they do there? Oh, they got the last one positive instead of negative. So they missed a sign on that one. So just be careful and look at them answers really good, okay? All right, y'all, let's see, 24. So 24, they're giving you that formula. B equals 3,300 e to the 0.04 t. So they want to know how many books after 8 years. So this one was, when we did it in MathLab, they used P of T equals PO e to the KT. This was in our last section we did, the growth and the decay. But all they want us to do is plug an 8 in for that T and see what we get. So let me go to paper real quick. So they gave me that formula. So what I would do, since they want 8 years, I would put an 8 in for that T. So I would have 3,300 e raised to the 0.04 times 8. Now, older calculator, on that one, when you put in your 3,300, whoops, you put in your 3,300. When you hit the second LN to get your E, it's going to bring your E up with the exponent notation and then the parentheses. In the parentheses, do 0.04 times 8 and close the parentheses. Now, the newer one, remember, the newer calculator will keep the exponent up there while you're writing it. The older ones, you got to put it in parentheses and close it. All right, so I'm gonna go to the calculator and plug that in. So let me second mode to quit that screen. So I had 3,300. And I hit second LN over here, second in the LN button by the 4. If you hit that, it puts the E with the exponent ready to go. On the older ones, it'll put the exponent with the parenthesis ready for you to put in your parentheses, okay? All right, so I had 0.04 times, what I had, times 8 years. So once I put that in, I'm gonna hit enter. Now we got to round it to the nearest book without any decimals, okay? So if I'm rounding that, I got 4,544.5. So it looks like I'm turning the last 4 into a 5 because of that 5 after the decimal. So I would have 4,545 when I put it in MATLAB. So let's see if I got a 4,545. So that would be C. And then we're ready to move on to the last one, number 25. So 25 is solved. They're giving me 4 to the exponent 6 minus 2x equals 16. I'm gonna go to paper and work that in real quick. So the first step on this number 25, you got a base of 4 on this side with that exponent. We want to rewrite the 16 using a base of 4. So what that means is you would have your 4 to the 6 minus 2x. That's going to equal 4. What exponent would y'all put on that 4?
2.
So there you go. Because 4 times 4 is 16. So now you got the same bases here. So if we got the same bases, that means these exponents are equal. So that means the 6 minus 2x has to equal the exponent of 2 on that side. And y'all, now we just want to solve for x. So we want to move this 6 over by subtraction. So I get negative 2x equals a negative 4. Then divide both sides by negative 2. Well, that cancels, giving me my x. So the negatives will cancel, and then 4 divided by 2 would be a positive 2. So if you check that, you put a 2 in for x. 2 times 2 is 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 4 to the second power equals 16. So any of the equations you can check by plugging your answers in, okay? So we would go for 25, look for what we get, a positive 2. So we would go with C, positive 2, and be done. So no more questions. So they want us to submit. So I'm just going to go and stop my share. So remember, Wednesday, I sent out part 1. It went from 1 to 15. This is part 2, going from 16 to 25. So Wednesday, the final exam, I will open the final exam Wednesday morning, and it'll be due Sunday, December 11th by midnight. Also, any work has to be done by Sunday night at midnight, okay? MATLAB will shut down after midnight on us. What I'll do is once everything's in on the 11th, I'll start figuring out grades, and I should have your grades by that Monday or Tuesday in the portal. But y'all remember, the tests have the most weight. So if you got any tests that have a 0, You need to email me so I can reopen it for you, so you can get some grades on those, okay? All right, y'all, so I'm gonna stop this recording because that's all the actual work we had.